Realizes he's now staring up at a mountain he couldn't even see the peak of before. The awe, the respect, the burning competitive fire it lights in his little heart. He's not jealous, he's inspired. He sees a path to power he could never walk as Kalen, and he is ready to sprint down it. But the best part? His entire disastrous first day was a calculated masterstroke. He didn't just beat up his cousin Lucian out of rage, he did it to capture Theron's attention. And it worked! He's got the old hero fascinated. Now, all he has to do is absolutely ace this ceremony, and he'll have the greatest trainer on the continent wrapped around his little finger, the long-term planning, the audacity. But wait, a tender moment interrupts our scheming. Papa Ronan, smelling slightly of wine, relatable, comes to check on his son. He admits he's always known Kieran was different. Too mature, keeping secrets. But he doesn't press, he just offers his unconditional love and support. I will always stand behind you. S.O.B. The pure, wholesome goodness of this man is the perfect foil to our little agent of chaos. Kieran is genuinely touched. This family's love is the one thing his calculated heart didn't expect and doesn't take for granted. Cut to the next morning. The rumors have spread. The main household is terrified of the new little monster in their midst. Servants scatter like leaves. And Kieran? He tells his father it's all going according to plan. He'd rather be feared than underestimated. He's building a reputation not just for himself, but to protect his father's honor, the complexity. Then, the most awkward family breakfast in history. The uncles are seething, Cousin Lucienne is traumatized, and Aunt Leona is just curious. The tension is so thick you could serve it with a side of eggs. And then Theron drops the bombshell. The awakening ceremony is happening today, this afternoon. No 2-week preparation. He's moving the schedule up because he's too impatient to see what his intriguing grandson will do. And Kieran? He's thrilled. He was hoping for this. He wants to shake this family to its foundations, and he's got the perfect bomb to do it. Himself. The stage is set, the audience is hostile, and the prodigy is ready to perform. The pledge stone awaits. What world will he see? What weapon will he manifest? And just how spectacularly will he show up every single one of his doubting relatives? The anticipation is killing me. It's time for the main event. Don't you dare look away. Oh my. It seems the ancient magic has a truly wicked sense of humor, or perhaps it sees right into the very core of a soul. For the new world, it shows him, is no world at all. It is a memory, a nightmare. It is the blood-soaked staircase of the Imperial Palace, littered with the corpses of his past life. The very place where Kalen met his end. The sheer, breathtaking audacity of this test, to force him to walk through his own personal hell. The drama, the tragedy, it's exquisite. But our boy doesn't flinch, he doesn't shut his eyes, he walks. Step by gruesome step, he ascends that staircase, acknowledging each fallen comrade with a whispered apology. He is not running from his past, he is confronting it. He steps right over the spot where he died and does what he never could in his first life. He enters the throne room. And there it is. Not a glittering new weapon, but a ghost from his past. Embedded in the throne is Luin, his cursed sword, the very extension of his damned existence, the instrument of his slavery. The voice of the pledge stone tells him to infuse it with his azure mana, to reclaim it, to make it his own again. And he hesitates. Of course he does. To touch that sword is to touch the misery of the life he so desperately wants to leave behind. The fear is palpable. But then he gets it. He understands. This entire ceremony isn't about power. It's about conquering your fears. His grandfather's final words weren't just a warning. They were the key. And with a hollow laugh at the poetic justice of it all, he does it. He places his hand on the hilt of his past and pours his new, pure, free mana into it. The azure light doesn't just fill the sword, it consumes the entire world. He didn't just find a weapon, my darlings. He accepted his past. He reconciled the slave with the noble. He took the symbol of his curse and is in the process of transforming it into a symbol of his liberation. The psychological depth, the narrative perfection. I am in awe. What will this reborn sword become? What will the family make of a weapon that should not exist? The anticipation is agonizing. But what did he bring back from his trip down memory lane? Oh, just a little something called guillotine. The execution sword, just the legendary, mythically forgotten, demon-beheading blade of the first ancestor that is so terrifying. It was literally erased from history, no big deal. And the voice guiding him, just your friendly neighborhood blue dragon from the North Sea. Apparently the Leston family has a guardian dragon on retainer, and it is very invested in our little troublemaker's future. The lore, the world building, it's all coming together. But the best part? The reactions. Grandpa Theron shooketh. He recognizes the sword instantly, and his face goes more serious than a tax audit. He knows this isn't just a cool new toy, it's a destiny. A promise to eradicate demons that his first ancestor failed to keep. The weight of that legacy just landed squarely on Kieran's 10-year-old shoulders. And the uncles. Oh, the uncles are sweating. Uncle Dale's, the almost 8-star powerhouse, feels a chill of fear just looking at the sword. Uncle Raphael is speechless with rage and confusion. The family dynamics have officially been nuked from orbit. The carefully built succession war between the first and second son is now a 3-way battle with a dark horse candidate who holds a sword that stares into your soul. But through it all, our boy is hungry. "Father, I'm hungry," he says. After shattering an ancient artifact and becoming the chosen one of a mythical dragon, his primary concern is getting a stake. The absolute king. The stage is set for an epic power struggle. The elders are whispering, the uncles are scheming, and Theron is watching it all with a mix of pride and dread. Kieran has the sword, the destiny, and the dragon's favor. What could possibly go wrong? Everything. Everything could go wrong, and it's going to be glorious to watch. He meets his great aunt. Excuse me, the magnificent Lady Aurelia, the White Wolf, and she is not what you'd expect. She's not a kindly old granny. She's a blue-haired, mana-rejuvenated powerhouse who looks like she's in her late 20s and could bench press a horse. She doesn't like being called great aunt because, darling, who would? She's fabulous. And who else is in detention? I mean, class? Why, it's his traumatized cousin, Lucian, the boy who learned the hard way not to insult Kieran's father. He's trying so hard to be brave, but one look from our little Chaos Lord and he practically vibrates with fear. The tension is delicious. Lady Aurelia begins the lesson. She explains the ocean dominance arts, building seas of mana within yourself, with Grandpa Theron being the only one in the Empire to have merged them all into one transcendent ocean. It's a fascinating system. Kieran is locked in, focused, determined to reach that pinnacle he could never touch in his past life. She tells them to close their eyes, to gently draw up their azure mana, to guide it through their pathways. She's about to warn them that it's difficult for beginners, that it takes time and patience, when Kieran absolutely ignores the instructions and goes full throttle. Whoosh! An explosion of azure mana erupts from him like a tidal wave. The training hall is suddenly filled with a raging ocean of power. Lady Aurelia is cut off mid-sentence, her eyes wide with shock. Lucienne is probably blown against the back wall. He didn't just draw up his mana, he unleashed the entire sea. All because he's been secretly practicing for years with a mana stone. This isn't a beginner's first step. This is a graduate-level thesis presentation. The preparation, the sheer, unmitigated gall. The look on Aurelia's face says it all. She's not seeing a student, she's witnessing a natural disaster in a child's body. This is the vast, uncharted sea Theron warned her about, and it's already making landfall. What will she do? How will she possibly teach someone who starts at the finish line? And poor Lucienne. Will he ever recover from the psychological damage? And his instructor, none other than the legendary commander of the Azure Wolves, Zerath Winterguard, an 8-star knight, a man whose mere presence screams, "I could defeat an army before breakfast." And how does our boy react? With awe-inspired respect, nervous trembling? Please. He sizes him up like he's checking out the competition. The audacity. I adore it. But Commander Zerath lays down the law immediately. No special treatment, no young master titles until he's earned it. And most importantly, gasp, he's taking away his sword. The glorious, terrifying guillotine is being benched. He's being given a wooden practice sword, the indignity. But does Kieran throw a fit? Does he pout? Of course not. He shrugs it off like it's nothing. He's more comfortable without the fancy title anyway. The sheer, unbothered king energy is off the charts. And then he walks into the training ground. And oh, the drama of it all. Every single knight stops what they're doing to stare. The air is thick with tension, anticipation, jealousy, curiosity. It's a whole emotional symphony directed at our 10-year-old protagonist. This is his initiation, his trial by silent judgment. But Kieran? He feels reassured. He looks at these fierce warriors, the very same ones who stormed the palace and ended his past life. And instead of fear, he feels a profound sense of camaraderie. The enemies of his past are the protectors of his future. The poetic irony is so thick you could swim in it. He doesn't cower. He strides forward with a confident smile, ready to earn his place among them. The wolves are watching, and the pup is ready to play. That's right. The montage is over. 3 years have passed in the blink of a beautifully dramatic eye. And what a 3 years it's been. Our boy Kieran has been busy. He's not just swinging a sword, he's been utterly devouring his training. Under the fierce and fabulous eye of the White Wolf, Lady Aurelia, his control over his monstrous azure mana has gone from a raging tsunami to a slightly less raging tsunami that he can actually steer, progress. And under the stern gaze of Commander Zerath, his swordsmanship has sharpened to a lethal point. He's been using those weighted artifacts like they're going out of style, building a body that would make a veteran knight weep with envy. the dedication, the sheer will. But has all this hard work made him humble? Oh, please, this is Kieran we're talking about. He's more insufferable than ever, and we love him for it. His poor cousin Lucien is still his primary victim. The dynamic is perfect. Kieran, the brilliant smirking menace, and Lucien, the perpetually flustered straight man who has somehow become his reluctant, and let's be honest, only, friend. They bicker, they train, and Lucien lives in a constant state of awe and terror. It's comedy gold. But it hasn't all been smooth sailing. The uncles, Dales, and Raphael are still scheming in the shadows, watching Kieran's meteoric rise with pure, unadulterated jealousy. The tension in the castle is thicker than the plot of a bad romance novel. And the biggest twist of all, Grandpa Theron, is sick. That's right. The legendary hero, the transcendent powerhouse, is hiding a weakening condition. The pillars of the world are shaking, my darlings, and only a select few know the truth. Why does this matter? Because the time for the family's annual tournament is nearing. A tournament where the young wolves of the Leston family prove their strength and valor. It's the perfect stage for our boy to officially declare his dominance and shatter every expectation. The stakes? Higher than ever. With Theron's health a secret, the succession war is about to boil over. Kieran's performance won't just be for glory. It could determine the very future of the ducal family. He's no longer just a troublemaker. He's a political earthquake waiting to happen. He's been sharpening his claws for 3 years, and now it's time to see what this wolf can really do. The stage is set. The players are in position. The drama is poised to reach a fever pitch. The scene? A letter home. And what does it contain? Not mere updates on his stellar progress. Oh no, it's a masterclass in manipulation. He casually drops that he's reached a 4-star mastery, a feat that would take decades for normal people. He's rewriting history. And then, with the grace of a diving hawk, he swoops in to ask his poor sweet father Ronan for more allowance. The financial audacity. He is funding his chaos empire. And the nicknames. The knights don't call him young master. They call him the Mad Puppy, a direct descendant of the legendary Mad Dog herself, his glorious Aunt Aurelia. It's not an insult. It's a badge of honor he wears with pride. He's not just accepted. He's feared. The uncles are shaking in their boots, too terrified to make a move against the little wolf who bites back. But the true masterpiece of this chapter, the breakfast scene. He sits there, breaking bread, with his formidable Aunt Aurelia, when his nemesis, Aunt Camilla, the mother of his traumatized cousin, Lucien, dares to approach. She's seething with 3 years of pent-up rage, forced to smile through gritted teeth. And how does our magnificent protagonist handle her? With the most devastating weapon in his arsenal. Polite, casual, absolutely devastating truth. She offers him a history lesson with the tutor, and he dismisses it because he'd already finished the entire curriculum with the Empire's top historian when he was 7. The look on her face, the sheer, silent fury. He doesn't need to raise his voice. His accomplishments are a slap in the face all on their own. But wait! There's more! A shadow looms on the horizon. Papa Ronan has discovered a dangerous drug, Koken, being smuggled onto their lands. And worse, monsters and fiends, remnants of the old Emperor's reign, are stirring in the west. The plot thickens. Danger approaches. The stage is set for our mad puppy to sink his teeth into something far bigger than family squabbles. Intrigue, smuggling, ancient evils returning, the drama is reaching a fever pitch. Let's check in on the family, shall we? First, poor Lucien is stuck between a rock and a hard place, specifically between his seething mother, Camilla, and his terrifyingly brilliant cousin. Camilla is desperately trying to fuel a rivalry that simply does not exist. She wants Lucien to see Kieran as competition, but the poor boy knows better. He's seen the sun, and he knows he's just a firefly. The resignation, the drama. But while the family squabbles, our main attraction is on the training grounds, putting a fully grown knight through the ringer. That's right, Kieran is sparring with Hans, a squad leader of the Azure Wolves, and he's winning with a wooden sword. He's so strong he's breaking training swords on the man's armor. The power, the sheer, unadulterated gall. And his trash talk is absolutely impeccable. Your muscles are like balloons, he says. The disrespect, I am living for it. But beneath the teasing, there's a real bond here. Hans is one of the few who can keep up with Kieran's chaotic energy, and he confirms what we all know. Our boy is ready for real missions. He's reached 4-star mastery. He's a powerhouse waiting to be unleashed. But of course, Kieran can't just wait for an assignment to be given to him. Oh no, he has to go and find trouble himself. And trouble arrives in the form of a worried-looking noble from the neighboring Belrus barony, a place plagued by bandits, and, as we know from Papa Ronan's investigation, a possible drug smuggling operation. So what does our magnificent chaos magnet do? He decides to personally welcome the visiting noble. He, a 13-year-old, is going to insert himself into a diplomatic situation because the adults are busy. His reasoning. There are certain rules of etiquette